Today's topic, we're going to be talking a little bit about how to create and leverage ChatGPT to create AI blogs with RSS feeds. And what that means is that we're going to basically be leveraging an RSS feed from multiple channels and feeding that directly into ChatGPT and having it create us really engaging content, whether that's via realtor.com or whatever that might be. Now, in order to do this, we need to find some RSS feeds. Google Chrome has a really cool extension. It is just a get RSS feeds URL extension, so that when you're on any of these real estate related websites, whether it's Bigger Pockets or any of those other really cool ones out there that you may or may not follow, hopefully you're following them. But they have RSS feeds that enable you to basically be able to grab all of those contents or the blogs or whatever page it might be and feed that directly into an XML sheet that we can leverage to recreate AI-driven blogs. So we're going to kind of use a couple tools here today. We're going to use Zapier. We're also going to use this RSS feed extension. And we're going to pop in and out of a couple different areas and show you how you can kind of create this and give you a step-by-step playbook on replicating the same process. Now, personally, I've been having mine go to a Medium channel. Medium is a good blogging website where you can create fun and engaging blogs and develop organic followers, whether it's real estate related or it is another topic. Mine here is about software and technologies. I am a computer scientist, software engineer by education, with a bachelor's degree, of course, in the field. But you can see how I have these AI blogs created where they have photos, they have all this text and verbiage, and it just drives very engaging content. I actually haven't logged into this. I got 10 followers, and I was just messing around with this for about a week or so. So really kind of a cool way to do this, right? So let's start off with the foundation. We're going to start off with Zapier, right? So go ahead and create yourself a Zapier account if you don't already have one. And then when you do have one, we're going to go ahead and create a Zap. Now, our first step into here is to not select an app, but instead we're going to select a built-in tool. And that tool is an RSS feed. So what that means is that we're basically going to look for new items in a feed. One thing to notate here when setting this up, that you can have multiple feeds coming into this one trigger. However, I don't recommend that because the data formatting can be completely different in how they send or how that RSS feed is compressed into the data format. So I wouldn't recommend this unless it's just different pages on the same website. I would simply just use the new item in the feed to get this. Now we're going to go ahead and click on continue. And then this is where it gets a little bit technical. So try and stay with me here, because when I say technical, it's probably like, whoa, I don't know what I'm doing, because I'm a little bit more technological savvy when it comes to these things, having been done this. But there's a lot of you out there that will be able to accomplish this. So when this says feed URL, we were talking about getting a Google Chrome extension installed onto your browser so that you can grab the feeds URL from any of those websites. So for example, if I'm on my Medium page, this actually has or should have an RSS feed. In some cases they do, some cases they don't. But if you're running into a roadblock in finding an RSS feed, so for example, if I go to realtor.com, which is one of my most popular sources to pull from, if you go to news and insights, inside of news and insights, there's going to be all this kind of blog content. And we're not going to take it and copy it. We're going to take it and recreate it based off some factors, right? So now if I go ahead and click this RSS feed up here at the top, you can see I get a URL that I can go ahead and copy. So when you copy this, we're going to go ahead and then take that back into Zapier, and we're going to paste that into that feed URL. Now, in some cases, if you're getting this from a third-party provider who does this step for you, they'll require you to have like a username and password, and some websites even have this protected. So if you have those credentials to get access to it, this is where you'll go ahead and plug those in. The next step is what triggers a new feed item, right? Different guide or URL. So when you look at these feeds, you want to look at them because up here at the top, this is one URL. If I click on this blog post, it gives me a unique URL for that particular blog post. If I click on another one, it changes that URL to be coherent or corresponding to that blog post. So if we go back in the Zapier, we could simply use the different guide, and they misspelled guide there, but different GUID actually is what it is, or URL, right? So we'll use that instead of going through here and changing anything. So we'll use a different URL because that's what we're looking at, is those feeds URL. So when we go ahead and test this, this is going to basically give us a really cool breakdown, right? So we're going to get some raw data here. This shows you all the different items. You have 3 items to pick from. It changes and so forth. Now what I can do is, since I have this broken down and split up inside of Zapier, I can actually take something like a bone-chilling haunted house in Texas creeps onto the market for $125,000. You could even take this description if you wanted to and do what we're about to do. Now, I always recommend proofreading what AI gives you, because you don't want to get hit with copyright writing issues or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on continue. And my next step is going to be to plug this into OpenAI. This is super, super simple. But what OpenAI is going to allow you to do, for example, you might actually do this manually right now on OpenAI or even ChatGPT's interface, right? And what I mean by that is you may be going and taking these titles. So for example, right, you might take this title, copy it, and paste it into here and say, write me an article about this, and click enter, right? And now it's going to write you with AI verbiage, or AI basically writes you a blog for this. However, this can become super, super cumbersome. And what I mean by that is this can become very time consuming when you have to go in here and every day have this thing write you a new blog and so forth, right? So here we go. We have a blog. Now I can then, of course, take this to my social platforms and start using this to create posts. I might even take this into something like my KV Core and create a blog and then share my KV Core link, because that's where all my lead capture tools are with KV Core, onto my Facebook, right? So here we go. We have it. It created me a nice blog. I can proofread this, make my edits as necessary, and go ahead and then use this blog to basically add to my website. So if I wanted to do that, I would just basically copy all this text. Let's say I've proofread this already. I would then go into my KV Core dashboard and go into Web and IDX, Website Manager, or you could just click on Website Blog right here, and it takes you directly to there. You can go ahead and add a post, copy and paste that text into there, and you're good to go. One thing you want to be careful with if you are a KV Core user out there is that you actually don't just Control V it like I did, because you'll see it gives you that background. But instead, if you want it to follow the formatting that's needed, you'll just go ahead and right click and make sure you paste it as plain text. That then gives you kind of this breakdown in it, and it follows the formatting of KV Core. You'll then just give this a unique name. So I can say something like, write me a blog name for the above text. And then this is going to start writing me a blog. So you see how it changes, unlocking the path to affordable home ownership, the complete USD checklist. I can then go ahead and copy that and then put that into my title. One thing that this does as well, or doesn't do, is I can't, and I haven't tried this actually. Give me a picture. So give me a picture. And it may or may not. So yeah, you see how it's unavailable to do that. So it's not going to give me a picture. But with OpenAI, it's a little bit different because you have developer access to it. So we could basically give it a command to tell it to create us a photo, right? In this case, we can't. So I would probably just go to like a Pexels or a Shutterstock or one of those free photo sources and get something and copy it and put it into my blog. But there you have it. I can just go ahead and simply paste that into there, click on publish, and we would be ready to roll. Now I have a URL that I can go directly to, and I could go directly to, and then I can share this unique URL with my social media followers, right? So that will create a clickable link on social media. So I will be able to then go in there and have that opened, right? So let me just show you what it would look like, and we'll do this live. I'm just opening up a screen here. So here we go. Let me drag it in here. So now I can just go ahead and create a post, and I can go ahead and paste that URL link that I created. If I had embedded a photo, it would add it into here, but since I didn't, it doesn't pull it in. And now I have a blog content for my social media channels. Now that's kind of the manual way, right? That's the manual process, which we just showed you, where you're going to ChatGPT, you're plugging that title into a prompt and telling it to write you an article about this home loan checklist, right? The other alternative that you have is, like I was showing you, we grab that RSS feed, and OpenAI is actually an application that can be used as an action on Zapier. So in this event, I'm going to actually tell it to send a prompt, or I'm going to send OpenAI a prompt, and I'm going to go ahead and click on continue. I've already made my connection. Text DaVinci 003 is my model that I'm going to use. And just like I did on ChatGPT's interface, where I said, write me an article about, what I'm going to do is just copy that. And in my prompt, I'm going to go ahead and paste this. Now, this is what we call stringifying text. So I can write manual text, but I can also add variables. So you see how this dropdown of variables pulled in from that RSS feed. So I can go ahead and say, write me an article about a bone-chilling house in Texas that creeps onto the market for $125,000. You also have a little bit more control over this. So I can go ahead and in the temperature section, I could say 0.2. Now, temperature, the hotter it is, the broader it is. The cooler it is, the more creative and more tight, like the more relevant to your topic it is, right? So if I set this at 2.0, it could give me something far-fetched. If I set this at 0.2, it tries to keep within the boundaries of this prompt up here above. I might even tell this to include things like include top real estate hashtags and also and hashtags, right? So there we go. You could also set a maximum length. So maybe I don't want my blog to be, this long. Maybe I want it to be more compact. I could set this to something like 1,500 characters. I could even go as high as 2,500 characters with Text DaVinci. Now, top P is this top priority. This is basically an alternative to sampling with temperature, but it's essentially going to take the top with one. It's going to take the top 10% of created responses and recreate you a response based off of keywords and sentences in those top 10 responses. Frequency penalty also just kind of penalizes the system based on the number of tokens. And then presence penalty penalizes the system based off the number of redundant words and sentences. So I always like to put these at either like 1 or 2, just so that my paragraphs are not, using or starting with like, this is a house, this is a home. Like there's no redundancy in it. It's a little bit more cleaner written blog, and I can still use it, right? So we'll go ahead and click on continue. And when we test this action, we should get a response here. And it might take a second or two here. All depends on Zapier. But there you go. It has text all right here. So there we go, Victorian home. And yeah, you could go ahead and if you wanted to compare this to it, right? If I thought it would be on this first page here. Here we go. So there we go. You can compare kind of what it wrote to what realtor.com wrote. But just a really cool way to take that title, twist it, recreate it with AI and ChatGPT. And now my options are completely unlimited. So what I can do from here, if I wanted to, is now I can even add another step. And let's say I want a title, right? So I would then go to OpenAI again as I would send another prompt. And I would tell this to basically write me a blog. Sorry about that, but write me a blog title about, and I can feed it the description that it wrote me. So actually that's the prompt. Let's feed it the created text. So there we go. And I can go ahead and limit my characters, right? So I might say I only want my title to be 150 characters. Again, we can turn down our temperature. And when you're limiting it to about 150 characters, you don't really have to worry about redundancy or any of that stuff. So don't worry too much about like frequency penalty or presence penalty. We're going to go ahead and test this. And now it should just give me a single sentence. All right, so it looks like it just created paranormal ghost. Prompt. Let's go ahead and retest this action real fast. Because I want it to actually give me a title. So you could even do something like this if you wanted to. So we could say, rewrite me a title similar to this one. And I can go ahead and do this. And then I can go ahead and click continue, test action. And then this will give me a, and it could be that I put 150 characters, right? So there's my text. And now what I can do if I wanted to, so there's a couple there's two ways we can go from here, right? The next step I could take is have it create me an image if I want to use OpenAI as an image creator. So we could go here. I could say generate an image, and then I can tell OpenAI to generate me an image for this title that it actually created. So there's the haunted place there. Click continue, test action. And this is going to give me a JPEG link that I would then be able to use in my blog, right? So there we go. We can go to it. You can see how it creates an image. Now, these images on ChatGPT I'm coming across aren't very great. You can get them to be great, but they're kind of basic. But back to the point, right? We can go two separate ways. One way we can go is we can take this content, have it put into like a Google Sheet or like a Google Doc, and have it formatted to where all you got to do is copy and paste it to KV Core or to your CRM of choice. Now, I'm not sure if Chime or Real Geeks, if any of you users out there, if they have the ability to automate this to create the blogs. I know KV Core does not at the moment, so you would still have to come in here and add to post and go ahead and copy it. But the idea is that they would all be there on that doc. So all you have to do is just go to your doc every morning, copy it, paste it over to your blog, proofread it, make sure everything looks great, and continue forward. The other route that you could take is if you're just trying to use this for branding purposes like I do. I don't really necessarily take these and put them onto my website per se. But what I'd rather do is take it and put it onto like my Facebook or have it create an Instagram post, right? So Facebook pages would be my action here. And then what I would do is just go ahead and have it create a new page post. We'll go ahead and click continue. And we'll select our account. And then we'll select our page, right? So Ernest Rica's broker associate there. And then in the message, we could have it put something like, I could use this prompt here. You could also add your description into there if you so please to, right? So if I'm going to add a description, I can do that. So we would do this. And then in the link, I can go ahead and link it directly back to that realtor.com link, right? So click continue. There's my post. We'll go ahead and test this. And then we'll go to my Facebook page here, click refresh. And then basically what's going to happen is I'm going to get that title. I'm going to get that text. Don't mind it. My coffee time. I do a market update every morning for people. And it should be there any second now. So there it goes. And there it is. So now you could see how it creates this. It adds hashtags and it gives them a link, right? So they can click on this. Granted, it takes them to realtor.com. I don't know if you want to do that or not. I don't really care. I'm just looking for consistency and making sure that my feed is constantly being fed and that I'm posting every day. Any good realtor that's pulling business off of social channels will tell you that you need to post at least 3 times a day to be and stay relevant. So that is just a cool, fast, and easy way. Again, I recreated the description. So as you saw here, it's not actually the description from realtor.com. Rather, it's the description that AI wrote. You could even, if you're going to do this type of technique, you can even remove the create me a title and all those other prompts, right? If you wanted to, I could even tell it to when I send prompt, if I only want this to be instead of being 1,500 characters, if I only want this to be, let's say, not that, but if I only want it to be 500 characters, I could also do that as well. So we'll go ahead and test that action. Now it's going to give me a shorter, tighter version of a blog or an article about that, so that this here is not so long, right? Kind of moving on, right? We could go ahead and do that to Facebook. The next step that I could add is I can also have this go to Instagram. So if I wanted to, I can go to Instagram and let's see if I'm connected here. I think I need to choose Instagram business there. Here we go. And then we'll publish a photo. You'll sign in. Let me go ahead and sign in here. Give me 2 seconds. I thought I was signed in already, but apparently not. Okay. All right, so we're now signed in. So what I could have this do is I can have this Instagram channel to use. There we go, broker associate. I could have this actually use, if we show all options here, I could have this use the image from the RSS feed. And there should be an image link here somewhere. So there's a thumbnail post. So there's my image. It doesn't look like they have it separated from realtor.com. Some RSS feeds actually send you a photo. So in this case with realtor.com, I might actually have to take a couple other steps, right? So what we might do is go ahead and find a URL. So Zapier has a filter option. Actually not a filter, it's a formatter. So we'll go ahead and use a formatter to where I can then use that link, right? So event is text, and we'll go ahead and transform extract URL. Here we go. So in the input, we're going to find, I think it was the raw encoded. where it looks like that image source is. So we'll go ahead and take that. So we'll go ahead and copy that or continue. And let's test this action. And it should give me, that's not the one I wanted though. This might be a little bit difficult to do with realtor.com to Instagram. But yeah, some RSS feeds will give you a JPEG link. So just be on the lookout for that. And then you could use that in order to create that. So you can, if you don't want to use realtor.com, you can actually go to Google and type in real estate RSS feeds. And this is actually a cool website, but FeedSpot will be a cool spot for you. So you could actually go here and follow some RSS feeds like Bigger Pockets, Inman, Redfin, Housing Wire. But let me just show you this, because if you're logged in to this, you can go ahead and see these feeds, right? So here is my feed. Continue. Might want me to upgrade actually. But yeah, some of these feeds are free. The other thing that you could do is you could just search them on here if you don't want to pay for it. And you could actually go to like housingwire.com, right? And go directly to the source, because again, you have this RSS feed option up here. So if we go into like real estate and we go into housing market, and this gives you trackers. I'm just trying to see what we have as far as Housing Wire might be a terrible example here, but housing news, right? You can go into here and now we got our feed there. So I can go ahead and copy that. And from the beginning here again, you can, in this RSS feed, click continue, and we can go to realtor.com or change that one out. Click continue, and we'll go ahead and test this trigger. I'm just trying to see if there's one of these links that actually or one of these options that gives you the image URLs. Some of them do, some of them don't. It's all dependent on the actual feed. But yeah, you would want that image URL in order to create a image inside of Instagram, right? And this is where, if you have done this already, you might even just use that AI created one. But there are a lot of feeds here: Housing Wire, Redfin, Inman, Bigger Pockets. I think the one that I use that gives us images is actually the NAR feed. National Association of Realtors actually has a pretty cool feed that you can get to, right? So if we go to nar.realtor, you can go here and go to their, I think it's real estate topics, and we can go into their they have some blog contents here, news and events. There we go, blogs. So we can go ahead and look at that feed. So there it is. And again, change that one out in Zapier as our trigger. And we can go ahead and test this and see what we get here. So we'll go ahead and test this. Test trigger. And link. Here we go. So there's a link. There is an image. There should be an image somewhere around here. But you can see how you can play around with these RSS feeds and just completely automate this process for yourself. There are tools that do this for you out there already on the market that exist, like Circle Pix or Core Social, right? So inside of your KV Core marketplace, if you're a KV Core user, you can go into there and there's products like Core Social that will automatically make you social media relevant. They post blog content for you. This is just a cool strategy when it comes to low cost, no subscription, and being able to generate content on a daily basis. You could as well, if you don't want this many steps in there, you can literally go from RSS feed directly to, if you want to bypass the AI creation and you just want to have something that posts socially for you, you could delete this step. You can remove this step, and I can remove this step. Basically, what I was doing there is just rewarding it, getting it created with an AI generator versus using what realtor.com or NAR or one of these RSS feeds might actually provide you. So that is how you'll use these to create RSS feeds. But like if I wanted to use this one, for example, we would go to here. Facebook would be my second action. And then in choices, let's go ahead and create a message here. So we could say top 10 options to capture headshots. That's already dynamically changed for me. I can go ahead and test this. And then here in a moment, I'll have that post on my page. So I can leverage those RSS feeds to have that created automatically for me. So super, super cool. I'm going to delete this one because it's more for the real estate professional versus the consumer. Again, you can also do this with realtor.com's feed. So if I wanted to change this back to realtor.com, I would grab that RSS feed from realtor.com. So there we go. And then I would put this one into that RSS feed. So here we go. We would paste this into there, click continue, and we would click continue. We're already connected. So what I would do here, and I forgot to test my RSS feed. So let's go ahead and test this real fast. Not sure why it's not testing there, but it should be testing. I'm going to reload. But yeah, you could see how you could easily now just have this trickle down effect where you start posting that to your social channels, right? So test trigger, we add a new feed. Here we go. Now, one thing I would probably recommend is you can set restrictions on here. So there we go. We'll test this action. It will go to my channel here, right? My Facebook feed. So here in a second, we got a success. We'll click continue. And then on my page, there you go. All right. So it's automated directly to my Facebook. You could post this to other channels as well. You just got to put those into that Zap. And yeah, if I had a photo URL, I could have that fed into here. But in some cases, again, they don't give you a photo URL. So there's the text, there's the raw link. Let's try this. I wonder if I just put a raw link, if it'll pull it. Caption can be up to 200 characters. Let's go ahead and try this. So there we go. Test action. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this needs to be a URL with JPEG at the end of it. So I wonder if I just did this and added it manually. This might be a little hack that we could do to get it on there, but no, it won't let me do it. So I have to get the URL for that and make sure I have that put into there. So hopefully you found this useful. If you have any questions out there, go ahead and put those onto the YouTube channel, or if you're on live right now, go ahead and comment those, but we'll wrap it up there. That is how you're going to leverage ChatGPT to automate blog content creation. Again, grab the RSS feed. Second action is open AI, have it write a prompt and then stringify the variable to the end of that. And then basically have that automated to your social channels. Now, I mentioned that you could throttle this a little bit. So if you don't want it to post nearly as much, there is a way here to basically tell it to only run like once or twice a day, right? So if you don't want this to continuously run anytime there's a new item in the feed, you can go through the settings in Zapier and have it basically only run X amount of times if you so please to, right? So easy way to make sure that you're not using all of your free tasks, or if you've upgraded your Zapier plan, you're not using all of your paid tasks. If you're looking for app integrations, head over to apination.com. They make it super simple. So if Zapier looks a little bit too difficult for you, API Nation has some really cool, easy syncs that you can leverage. And they also have a pre-filled mapping tool. So if you're using Facebook lead forms to go to like KV Core, API Nation has a really cool and easy sync to be able to do that. So if you're not familiar with how mapping works like we were doing on here, head over to apination.com and check out some of their app syncs that they have. Hopefully you all found this useful. Thank you for your time. Thank you for registering. We'll be back next Thursday again with some pretty cool content. For the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and hang out here in the background. If any of you all have questions that are on live, go ahead and put those into the chat section. And if not, we'll go ahead and wrap it up on that note. Thanks, everybody.
Happiness is